muy buenas a todos, one more time. Ya que estamos en este primer vídeo del Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition, que es una continuación del Stanley Parable. Por cierto, el juego este ya salió, creo que salió en abril de este año, o sea, salió hace medio año, más de medio año. Pero bueno, la verdad es que está bastante guay, tiene bastantes más cosas que el Stanley Parable normal y la verdad es que es una locura el juego. Si no sabéis de qué va, pues no lo vais a entender, porque yo ahora mismo llevo 4 horas jugadas al juego y no acabo de entender del todo de qué va. Pero bueno, vais a ver aquí que el juego está bastante curioso, tiene sus cositas, así que nada, como siempre aquí una partida grabada en directo con todos vosotros. ¡Empecemos! Mola porque esto ya es aquí en plan de, mira, esta pantalla tiene la misma pantalla que tienes tú, y dentro está la misma pantalla que tienes tú, y dentro la misma pantalla que tienes tú, pero por cierto, cada una está más achatada que la anterior, porque esto es 16 novenos y esto es 4 tercios. Si te pones la pantalla a 4 tercios, ¿se verá bien ahí? Bueno, vamos a empezar la partida.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what
futuro distópico,
push, how long to
o presente distópico, o pasado distópico, porque
This
esto
is what employee 427 did
ese ordenador es
every
viejuno.
day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly.
¿Y si hubiera sido hecho genéticamente para eso?
Was happy.
Esto es un mundo feliz, Brave New World, chaval.
And then one day something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I hate Mondays, odio los lunes. Estoy de Garfield. Con el... No puedes saltar. Consigue tu primer logro. O sea, si clicas, suena como si tecleas. Si aprietas el botón derecho, avanzas con el botón derecho, el ratón.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how
¿Quién se ha
hard
tirado un
Stanley
pedo?
looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Padre número 1, que son las tazas más típicas que han encontrado por ahí. Me gusta el trabajo, simplemente odio al jefe.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office.
Mola porque va
but it didn't
narrando
make
lo
a
que hago,
single difference,
toqueteándolo
nor
todo.
did it
¿Y la ventana
advance the
qué?
story in any way.
Ah. ¿Hasta ahí podré llegar? Odio los lunes. Eso está repe. Aquí no hay nada. Ese café se ha caído. Esto parece una sala de interrogatorio. Vale, eso es las ventas del cuatrimestre. Esto no tiene sentido, que es que están perdiendo... Han cerrado la...
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Me han dicho que entré por la puerta de la izquierda. Voy a hacerle caso. A ver si no le haces caso. Como el cuadrito ese.
Yet there was not a single person here
Y no
either.
es una persona.
Feeling a wave of
Por cierto,
disbelief,
esto es una presentación de
Stanley decided to go
PowerPoint.
up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer
Pero los
there.
ordenadores que hemos visto no... Cuando existían esos ordenadores de pantalla verde y tal, no existía el PowerPoint. Porque suena el teclado cada vez que clico. Mucho porcentaje. Adolescentes, tamaño de la demografía, mucho porcentaje. ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué hacen en esta empresa? Cuarto de...
Stanley
Brumes,
stepped into the
escoba.
broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Se dio la vuelta y volvió por su camino. Tú, espérate, hombre. ¿Por qué? ¿Eso es que se ha rayado? Lo de que clico y suena el teclado es que se ha rayado en algún momento.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Pues subimos. Nos dice que subimos. Pues subimos. Yo creo que se ha rayado eso en algún momento. Hostia, ¿esto es un puticlub? ¿Qué es esto? Baños de... Vamos, del ejecutivo, ¿eh? El dinero en la mañana, el dinero en la noche, dinero para desayunar. ¡Dinero crujientito! Yo creo que se le ha ido la pinza al sonido este. Porque sé que suena un teclado ahí, no sé si es que está hecho adrede, a lo mejor está hecho adrede. Está rayando el sonidito este. Madre mía, chaval.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked,
Vino.
unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of
2845.
course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
No. 2, 8. Ah.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code
Al
by
azar.
sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Era todo un decorado. Toda mi vida es una mentira. ¿Se me apaga el ordenador por alguna razón? Ah, cuando hago esto, en mi pantalla secundaria sí que lo veo, pero en mi monitor principal lo veo todo negro. Ahí no hay nada, entonces. Me parecía que había algo. Abajo. Ah. Vale, creía que me iba a caer. Vale, es una... ¿Qué, cómo ha cambiado la luz ahí? ¿Qué ha pasado? Por el brillo, ya, pero el otro monitor, ¿no? No lo sé, una cosa rara.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now,
Sonidito de teclado.
when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that
control
read
mental,
Mind Control Facility.
Mira, ¿qué hacemos? ¿Vamos a la sala de control mental o escapamos? ¡Escapa!
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth, but of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to... Nope, still on board with death?
¿Realmente es la muerte esto o qué? No tiene final.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Oh. Tobillos de titanio. ¿Es por aquí por donde había que ir?
As the machine whirred into motion,
Esto parece lo del Half-Life 2.
closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his
Vamos a
death was
morir.
of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
¡Ah! ¡No!
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
¡Up! ¿O no? ¿O no? La parábola de
And
Stanley.
yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been
esto, ¿no?
created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life
Es una
the same.
maqueta.
Do
Ah,
you
aquí es donde
see
estaba
now?
yo y esto es una
Do
maqueta.
you
Este es el
see
recorrido
that
que he hecho.
Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
El escenario de las puertas abiertas fue la primera pieza concreta de diseño de Stanley Parable. Una vez se creó esa habitación, el resto del juego surgió como una extensión. Vale, eso lo iría improvisando y tal. Archivadores. Computadoras de la oficina. Cuando hay el solitario. ¿Eso es el Windows 95? ¿De Windows 95? Ya ves, chaval. Sonidos de botones. Créditos. Pero hombre, obviamente no me lo he pasado. Ahora fin. Y bueno. Los 10 pavos mejor gastados de mi vida. Sala de empleados. Tomas de narración descartadas.
Then he pushed the number 4.
Aquí están lo del narrador que han ido descartando.
Where were all of his co-workers?
Por lo menos se aprovechan para el juego. Zona subterránea. Claro, yo he ido por lo del escapar en vez de ir a la zona de control. Una versión inicial de la zona subterránea del juego. Ah.
Textbook mistake.
Y sillas descartadas también. Reloj de la oficina. Final de la libertad. Esta fue la primera versión del final de la libertad en la versión alfa del juego. A uno de los finales. Esto es un poco grande. ¿Qué está pasando aquí? Palancas del final Zen. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Que me he venido aquí al museo de donde te muestra las cosas del juego? Cronómetro del apartamento. Si no tendrías llegado a otro final. Vale, estos son cosas del primer juego. He llegado un poco pronto aquí. Bueno, es que soy tan bueno que he llegado al final del juego al principio. ¿Qué ha pasado aquí? Modelos de las... 427, 427, 427. Son todos el mismo. Son todos el mismo, pero no son la misma oficina. Es que cada vez que juegas tu oficina puede ser un poco diferente. Esto sí que es un setup bueno, chaval. Setup de 7 monitores. Escritorio de la cuenta regresiva. No sé. Bueno, vamos a ver. Stanley Parable.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. how they wish to control one another, how they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to
Ahora volvemos a lo de la
still
trituradora.
save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Ah, pues quizá debería. Vale, volvemos a estar aquí. Vale, claro, esto es lo típico que tienes que hacer.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided
¿Esto
to go
antes
to the
estaba
meeting room.
funcionando?
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vale. Vamos a... Hombre, podemos ir a lo de Escape.
When
Vamos por el
Stanley
mismo
came
sitio
to a
de
set
antes
of
para
two
no ir
open
haciendo
doors,
20.000
he
cosas
entered the
raras.
door on his left.
Podemos ir a... Hombre, ahora a la zona esta de control
Yet
mental
there was
podemos
not
ir.
a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Este sigue aquí.
Oh no,
Oh, no, de nuevo no. Tranquilo, hombre, tranquilo. Claro, también podemos ir por abajo, claro, que hay un montón de posibilidades. 2845.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley was in
¿Cómo?
such a rush to
Stanley
get
era el
through the
puto amo.
story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That
No
kind
dejo al
of
narrador
anxiety
hacer su
isn't
trabajo.
healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
New Age. Parece aquí. No more I love yous.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the
Annie
open
Lennox.
passageway.
A ver. Y por aquí yo creo que aquí hay algo, porque aquí hay un sitio en el que te puedes meter así como que no quieres la cosa. No, pero no hay. No hay. Y no puedo decirle arriba. Qué gran fallo del juego. Qué gran fallo del juego. Vamos ahora a la sala de control mental. O nos queda... Hombre, nos queda en lo del escape room apretar el ESC y salir. Y así por lo menos vemos las posibilidades de esa...
Stanley
de
walked
esa
straight
línea.
ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Vamos aquí. Me apetece venir aquí. Chan chan. Esto me recuerda mucho al Half-Life 2. De repente aparece aquí el señor este del maletín. Well. Mr. Anderson. ¿Tú qué? Bienvenido al universo cinemático de Marvel. ¿Qué? ¿Será usted Batman? ¿Y tú qué?
The lights rose on an enormous
Esto es lo de
room
los
packed with
X-Men, ¿no?
television screens.
Esto es cerebro.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Por supuesto. Esto es cerebro de los X-Men. Cerebro. Cámara de seguridad.
Now the monitors jumped to life. Their true nature
Han
revealed.
despedido al
Each
104.
bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images
Nos
on a
están
screen.
investigando los
And
extraterrestres
Stanley,
para
one of them,
ver nuestras
eternally
conductas.
monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
El 234 está bugueado.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to
¿De qué va el
believe.
juego?
It
No se
couldn't
sabe.
be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
¿Vivimos en una sociedad?
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Oh. 1, 2. ¿Tengo que apretar los números en orden? Ese es el 5. He apretado el 1 y el 2.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it would... Oh, Stanley.
Oh, fuck.
You didn't just activate the controls, did you?
No.
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine
No.
for yourself. Is that what you wanted?
No, yo no quería hacer nada. Cargando el sistema de control
I
mental.
applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heartt's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going. What all this means, I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
He encontrado el 1, 2 y el 5. Hay 3 y 4 por aquí.
All right, I'm
Este es el 4.
You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I
Mira,
erased
¿dónde está el
them.
3?
I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
Y el 5 en lo de la entrada.
I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley?
¿Eh?
Is it that you have
1,
no
2, 3, 4,
idea
5.
where
¿No
you're
era eso?
going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that
¿Qué
timer
quieres de mí?
that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you.
¿Y los colorines
Running from
estos?
button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save
Si aprieto el 5, ¿qué pasa con eso de ahí
Stanley?
entonces?
That this
No,
video game can be beaten? Won? Solved?
Si aprieto el 5, ¿esto de aquí hace algo?
Stanley.
Incorrecto. Tengo que apretar el 3. Fuck. El 3 estaba ya. Va, no sé lo que hay que hacer ahí.
You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless.
3.
To see you made humble.
Y es que tengo que clicar el 3.
This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first.
Adiós, empleado 427.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you.
Que seguro que al final no pasa nada.
Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Ah, pues sí que ha explotado. Perfectly cat booms. Vaya. ¿Qué es lo que había que hacer ahí? ¿Qué locura es esa? No, aquí otra vez. Vale. Vamos a apretar el off entonces ahora ahí, en esa parte de ahí para no provocar la muerte y la destrucción del universo. Luego habrá que ver también qué pasa por la derecha. Bueno, hay muchas cositas que ir descubriendo por aquí. ¡Ah! ¡Qué cabrón! Me ha cerrado la puerta de las escobas. También por aquí también puedo ir por abajo. 2, 8, 4, 5.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway.
Vale, ahora ni siquiera me hace hacerlo. Gracias, narrador, por facilitarme las cosas.
Stanley decided that this machinery would never
si le pongo off pasará exactamente lo mismo, ¿no?
Power over another human life. For he...
A ver. ¿O no? Parece algo diferente. He apagado el juego. He ganado. Final bueno. No sé.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won.
No puede ser.
He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command.
No será tan fácil.
Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
Libertad, chicos.
Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was
Hombre, estamos en el My Summer Car. Impresionante. Ahora, veo que ya te has despertado. ¿Y tú sí? Déjame pasar.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Y murió. ¡Libertad! Termina el juego. Vale, esto es el final bueno. Y hasta que va a llegar este vídeo. Si os ha gustado y queréis más, dadle a like. En el siguiente ya continuemos con más finales y más secretitos del juego y alguna cosita ahí morona de la historia, ya veréis. Pero bueno, si os ha gustado y queréis más, dadle a like, suscribiros para no perder los futuros vídeos. Y como siempre, ya nos veremos. One more time. Oh yeah.